Hello and welcome to a new episode of In the District. Today we're sitting down with Assemblymember Yudelka Tapia, who represents the 86th Assembly District. Join us for a conversation on what is happening in her district from University Heights to Fordham, Mount Eden, stepping into her role now in her second term, and much more. I'm Jonathan Calixto, and this program is brought to you from BronxNet's brand new media and technology studios in the South Bronx. Assemblymember, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and good morning to all the people that are watching this program. And because it's just amazing the state of the art that we're sitting down here. Amazing what you've done in this new location that was created to actually continue bringing the information and all the knowledge that our community actually needs to know to see how is that we're impacting moving forward.
Yeah, and I'm so happy to hear that. I know our team is excited as well. You are no stranger to the BronxNet Studios facilities, and you got a quick tour as well this morning. You talked a little bit about obviously seeing it firsthand now, kind of in its completion. What do you think about it as well, the impact it can have, like you mentioned, on our community?
Oh, my dear. I am excited to be celebrating 30 years of BronxNet, first of all. And that's something that we talk about at the beginning of the year, I think. At the beginning of the year, we did something here just to talk about the 30-year, the celebration. And it had to be, and without this type of investment, without this type of putting together a BronxNet and all the programming that it brings to our community, without that, our democracy doesn't work. Because, this is the way, participating in public media and making sure that our community have access to it. It just is paramount to move forward.
Well, with that as well, of course, we are so thankful for your support. And we'll get into the Community Reinvestment Act a little bit further down. But I want to start off, you are now in your second term. I know we were talking a little bit beforehand. It's a busy schedule that you have as well. I wanted to know, for you, now stepping into the second term, how is it different from when you first stepped into the role in 2021 through a special election?
Well, I have more knowledge in how to actually to impact and how to create legislation that actually is going to change the life of families and people, one family at a time and one person at a time. You learn more of that, but the most thing that you learn is actually how to work with people, to actually get into conversation and how you actually put things together. Because for you to pass a bill in the assembly, you have to have the majority to pass the bill, and you have to make sure that you create those relationships that allow you to actually make sure that your bills are going to be passed and that you're going to have the impact that you're planning. So that's the biggest thing, because I've been around for a long time in our communities, and I've been working and fighting for our community since I came to this country. I came here when I was 20 years old, my dear. I wasn't born here. I was not. And I'm an immigrant, like many. This country is made of immigrants, and when I came here, I already was a fighter in my country. And I continue doing that here. So for me, it wasn't that difficult. And now I am finished my second term this year. And I think, it's been a success in the sense, in all the things that I've been able to participate and to bring and to collaborate. So the state of New York can continue to be the biggest, most powerful, richest state in the world.
And walk us back a little bit, too, about that decision to even run for New York State Assembly. You mentioned it, of course. Yes, you do have this background in public advocacy. But what was that decision specifically to run and step into that role, you would say?
I think, that our communities have to have the different perspective that we bring at the table. And, for example, in my case, I'm the first woman representing the 86th Assembly District. And a woman at the table bring a different perspective in how you see the issues that are happening in our family, that are happening with the school, that are happening with our children. It's a different perspective. And I think, that I had to be at the table. And not only that, the experience and the knowledge and the institutional knowledge that you bring at the table is also super important for us to put it at the table too. When we lose that institutional knowledge that we learn as we pass, as we fight in our communities, and that we contribute to many things, then it's difficult for you to say, okay, this is the way it happened before, but this is the way we're doing it, because we have seen how this change. So institutional knowledge and experience is important when we're sitting at the table to do negotiation, because every single thing that is done to move our community forward is through legislation, but not only legislation, but negotiation has to be at the table.
Yeah.
And for you to negotiate, you have to know exactly and have the knowledge and the institutional knowledge that when you fight together and you work together, you always win, but it has to be together.
Yeah, and when you talk about that knowledge too, and having that insight into our communities, now in the district that you represent as well, we include University Heights, Morris Heights, Mount Eden, we got Kingsbridge, Tremont, Fordham.
Yep.
What are some of the things that you are seeing now prevalent in our communities, issues that they're coming to you and telling you about?
Well, the biggest issue that we have in the Bronx, I would say the Bronx because, we're talking about the Bronx, my boogie down Bronx.
Yes.
But it's the biggest crisis that we have in the state of New York and maybe in the nation. We're talking about affordable housing, affordability,
right,
and good jobs that would allow our families to actually make sure that they could pay the rent and they could raise their family with dignity. So that the biggest issue that we have is that. And I think, that is the biggest challenge for the assembly to solve that. And in the community, in my office, 80% of the people that go to my office is because of housing issues. And for us, that's very important. And this year that we were able to do that, but also we have big issues with addiction and overdose here in the Bronx. We have the highest overdose rate.
Yeah.
Our people are dying through overdose, and for me, that's a big challenge also, and we're working on that. I have passed legislation regarding addiction and how we're gonna actually make people accountable for bringing those type of things to our communities. And then we have also issues with cannabis, how cannabis, after we were able to decriminalize it and to make sure that our communities that suffered the most. The Bronx was the county that suffered the most with the criminalization of marijuana and other drugs here in the state of New York. So decriminalizing and making sure that there is a legacy for those that actually suffer and they were not able to raise their family with dignity. They were not able to have a good job because, they were marked for the time that they did in jail, and they was not. So we passed the clean slate to be able to clean that, to be able to give them that freedom. And then with the cannabis, what is happening now is that we have to protect our children too, and we have to make sure that the legal stuff is doing that way, and that the beneficiary are the people that actually suffered the most and were criminalized back in the days.
Yeah, I know another part too of being able to address these issues is our state budget. And recently too, you've been very open and sharing on your platforms how the 2024-2025 state budget is impacting our education system, our housing as well, for New Yorkers all around. Can you talk to us about how it is impacting positively, especially Bronx?
Housing was the biggest win that we have in this budget, because we were able to put robust tenant protections. That the landlords cannot continue abusing and discriminating and our tenants, and especially when you're talking about affordability for the house, that they cannot raise the rent, to whatever they want, so they can move, and they don't do the repairs to make you move so they can rent it at a higher rent. So all of that, we put it in protections for our tenants is part of the bill that we passed. And also building around 300,000 units of affordable housing for the next 10 years. Wow. That's going to ameliorate the crisis that we have now, the scarcity, because, if you don't build, the rent's going to go up. And that's exactly the situation that we are and we are right now. And this bill that we passed, the housing issues, and how we put it together, include all of that, and include also good pay for our workers. The workers that are going to be building the affordable housing that our community needs are going to be pay exactly what they are supposed to be paid, and they're gonna be able to actually live in the community that they are building, and they don't have to move to other states because they cannot afford it anymore. So that's not going to happen anymore. Those workers are going to be making the salary and the wages that they actually mean. So that's the biggest win that we have in the bill. In the budget. But we also did a great investment in education, in public education, and we put $35.3 billion just for public education, $1.3 billion more than what we put last year. And for the second year, we have 100% of the foundation aid that our school in the Bronx never got for the last 50 years. They never would put the 100% foundation aid that we needed, and I think we accomplished that last year and continue doing it this year. And now what is important to have the impact that $35 billion we're going to have, it had to do with the programming and how we're going to have that being changed, and it's getting there, because we have to make sure that we improve the reading in our students, the math, the technology, and all of that type of stuff, and it had to do with the programming. And I think it's not about the money anymore. It's about doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
And you talked about as well the important part of, now we have the budget in place, where are we investing it?
Yeah.
And when it comes to you and your thoughts as well, and what you're seeing in our community, where do you think we need to invest it, in the importance of investing it when it comes to education? What are some of the things you do want to see it
education, we have to, the first thing that we had to do we changed, we were in this line, and we did deviation. I'm talking about maybe 20 years back. We did a deviation in how reading and math and all that was done and instructed to our children. And now we're going back there, because I think that's the foundation for our children to move. But technology is how the future is going to move. And I think it had to be in every class, starting in kindergarten, so they could be actually with the time. Because AI, we're seeing what's happening with AI.
Yep.
And they have to be prepared. We have a bill to protect our children from the use of social media in excessive. And making sure that we put accountable these big companies that are trying to put things in there so our children get addicted to be in the entertainment. So we know all that, but AI, we had to work hard in AI, and we had to work in technologies to put it in every single school, because that's the future. And we had to make sure that, and it's not, like I said, it's not about the money anymore.
It's about where we put it.
It's about how we put it, definitely. And how actually we're gonna make sure they're gonna continue the path.
Awesome.
And the evaluation that we do to see what is working and what is not working.
Yeah, well, with that, thank you so much, Assembly Member, for letting us get a little bit more insight into what's happening in the district. With that, it's time to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll get some final thoughts from Assembly Member Yudelka Tapia. Stay with us.
Years of BronxNet, 4 years of modern noticing, broadcasting stories that may inspire you, untold or underreported stories. BronxNet, your story is heard. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching Modern Odyssey on BronxNet.
Welcome back. Hope you are enjoying today's In the District conversation with the Assembly Member for the 86th District. Now, Assembly Member, I know there's so much more we can discuss when it comes to being in the district as well, but I want to start off now. There was something that when I was looking through your platform and the work that you've been doing since 2021, at least I can trace it back to then, you've been talking about the importance of being in the eye of the public and voters. How important is that to you even then? Even more important now, that motto?
Oh, I mean, democracy only works if our community participate. And that's the biggest thing. Look at what now we know. This year is a game. I think it's the most important election that we have in the whole history of our nation. And if we are not participate, that means that you don't deserve to actually be part of the benefits that democracy brings to our communities and to our nation. And I think, that voting and make sure that you are involved and make sure that you get registered and that you exercise that right. Thousands of people die just fighting for the right to vote. This is not happening anymore in this country. And we still have so many that are not paying attention to that because, they don't believe in many things that are happening. But, the only thing for us in the biggest democracy in the world, the only thing we fight all of those things is through voting.
Yeah.
Because, when you vote, you say, I agree with that or I don't agree with this because that's the yes or that's the no. So it is important. So this year, I did the biggest call that I'm doing is, November is important and we have to vote in November, and we had to make sure that we vote for the right person. And we know that democracy at this point is unbelievable, the most important thing. This is going to be the most consequential election that we're going to have.
Yeah, important to use our voice all the time. And I love that you mentioned that and obviously encourage our viewers to do the same, our Bronxites especially. With that, I know your work in public advocacy goes way back to even you in DR, in the Dominican Republic. Where did that desire come from? I know you've spoken about, even in DR, moving and creating awareness for domestic violence, political corruption. Where did that desire for public advocacy begin?
Well, I come from a family of fighters. My mother is 80 years old, and she's still in DR. She went back to DR 20 years ago back. She just said, okay, I'm tired here. So she went back. And my grandmother and my father was a fighter when the United States invaded the Dominican Republic. My father was part of the resistance at that time. And I wasn't born yet. But I learned from that. And we continue to do that. So fighting is something that we have in our blood. And when I got here, I just found out that the same issues that I was fighting in my country and for was the same issues that we have here. In a different dimension, yes. Right. But it was the same thing. It was all the obstacles that our community have here to move forward and to actually achieve the American dream that many of us come to this country to have. And then that's how I did it. And I started just translated with my neighbors in my building, making the phone calls for them, to the appointments, to all of that type of thing that people might believe that are small things, but actually that change so many people knowing that they have access to things that otherwise they wouldn't. So I think that's from where I got it. I was raised for a family that was a family of fighters. A very poor family. I come from a very poor family that had to work hard to actually. My mother only got to go to the 6th grade, and for her, education was the biggest thing that she said that she could leave us. And all me and my three brothers, my brother and my two sisters, all graduated from college because my mother said that was the only thing that she could leave us, because she didn't have anything. She didn't have any other resources to leave us. And I think because of that, I mean, I am educated and I'm able to actually pass through people what the needs are, and that's why I have a good job when I got here, because I have graduated from college when I got here. I got here when I was 20 years old. I went to Bronx Community College, and then I went to Hunters to do my master's degree. But I have a good job. I could have moved from the Bronx, but I never did.
You loved it here. You were connected
I mean,
at that point.
not only I love it, but I found out that our people, our communities, our black and brown people, our poor community with no good jobs, and that they didn't know. They didn't know how to fight for what belongs to them. They didn't know that they have rights. And that's the reason why I never left. Because, I mean, I knew that they needed somebody to continue fighting and to make sure that they bring in the information and fighting for the schools. For example, the biggest fight that I have here when I got here, I raised my 4 children here in the Bronx and in the public schools. They are a product of public schools. So I had to fight for good schools. And that's how, when I was fighting for good school, I was fighting for all the other parents that have those issues. And I think so that's from where it's coming from, because I mean,
And the legacy, I mean, and even your story that you share with us, it does connect with a lot of Bronxites. I know living in the communities, when we go out into the field and even report, these are the stories we hear often. What would you tell them about being able to make something of themselves and the possibilities that they have of doing and creating change here in the Bronx?
Guys, if I was able to do it, my story says that anyone can do it. My story is a story of immigrants. And immigrants, if we actually do, and we continue doing, and we have a goal, and we help our community, and we do the fighting, and you know that education is the only equalizer that we know, that we have, and you could do it. Because I got here when I was 20 years old. I didn't speak English. I still don't speak English, I would say. But, and I was able to make it. I am an assembly member, and I'm being a fighter, and I have changed the life of hundreds of people, one person at a time and one family at a time. I have been able to create the diversity and to bring diversity to the justice system here in the Bronx, to the schools here in the Bronx, with trying bringing diversity in what were the principles that were in our schools. Do they represent the population that they're serving, the students that they're serving? So all of those changes, I was able to participate and be part of it. And then at the end, I am an assemblywoman that was born in the country, in the Dominican Republic, and came to this country with nothing. And I am able to doing biggest changes now than I used to do. And if I can do it, if I can do it, anybody can do it. My story is an immigrant story, and I want everybody to know that it's possible and they can do it.
Yeah. You spoke about supporting initiatives that have a focus on diversity, and you are supporting the Community Media Reinvestment Act, which is the A5900B in the Assembly and S2581B in the New York State Senate.
The Reinvestment Act is gonna bring it's gonna make sure that the people actually that are taking all our resources put the money in the community from where they're benefiting from. I mean, and we know that this is what's happening, because I mean, the streaming now is the biggest way that our communities are having to get access to information. And they are getting all the money, and the community is not. And if our community does not participate, there is no media that is created for our young people, for our community, that reflect specifically who we are. and what we actually deserve, then we are not talking about democracy.
Yeah.
So this is the importance of the Reinvestment Act, and we could talk longer. I mean, in saying who are the streaming that we're talking about, and how those streamings are actually making billions and billions and billions of money, and the community is not benefiting from them, and we are the one who are making them to make those billions and billions of dollars. So I think, I mean, it's not only about justice, but it's also about democracy, and it's also participation and listening to the voices of our community. And this is the reason why we are here, BronxNet, because BronxNet represent the voice of our communities. And if the BronxNet is not getting the resources that are needed for us to continue putting those resources in the way of young people like you that can actually come and bring a perspective of what is actually happening in our community, then we are not, we're just not participating. Yeah. And I think, I mean, that's the importance of the Reinvestment Act. And a fighter, I have done a couple of things, I mean, to promote it, and we're going to do the last in Albany, and we're going to do a big rally just for that, and we're going to make sure that not only the speaker, but the majority leader and the Senate also take part on it, and they understand. I don't think, I mean, that they don't understand, but I think, I mean, it needs for us, advocacy is one of the biggest tools that we have when we're fighting for something.
Definitely. And I mean, we appreciate, like you said, the support that you've been giving this act especially, and obviously how we bring and can bring the voices to our communities and this important platform. So thank you so much, Assemblymember. I know you said we can talk for so long, and I agree. There's so much more I'd love to ask you, but thank you so much for stopping by and getting to chat with us today.
It's my pleasure, I mean, to talk to my people here in the Boogie Down Bronx, like I always say, and that they can see that things are possible and that we're changing for the good and that we are moving our community forward. Even when we say all these things, I mean, we're moving forward.
Definitely, we are. Well, thank you as well, everyone, for watching. And remember, you can always watch this program anytime, anywhere on BronxNet.org and YouTube. While you're there, be sure to follow BronxNet on social media to find out who and what leader we will be speaking with next and sit down with on In the District. From BronxNet's media and technology studios in the South Bronx, I'm Jonathan Calixto. Talk soon.